Hey everyone! So now that we have our basic Maxwell material, image-based environment, and camera set up, I think it's time to do the fun part and start setting up lights. Now before we do that, let's do a few things. First, let's bring back the Maxwell material that we created previously. So I'll do that now. I'll select my lightsaber, right-click, custom material, MX Saber 7. Alright, so if I'll do a fire preview, that's what I'm going to see. Okay, so that's done. Now, second is I want to change the orientation of my object a bit. I mean, I find this is a little bit too boring to render it just like that. I want to make it a little bit more dynamic. So I want to just rotate it a little bit and maybe see a little bit of kind of opening here. Maybe a little bit like that. Something like that. So this is kind of pointy, and I'll just bring it closer to the camera. Let's do a quick preview. Something like this. Maybe a little bit lower. We'll just put a little bit, just a bit lower, so it's gonna have this. A little bit more air here. Okay. So let's assume this is how we're gonna render our object. Go on to the camera settings, and in the Maxwell Render tab, switch the lens type from pinhole to fin lens. And that's what you're gonna get. Okay, so our camera target distance went right away, right here. So that's too far. So to change the target distance, what you can do is you can select the object. I would want to have my depth of field somewhere here. So select the camera, shift select the object, and push the focus button here on the Maxwell shelf. Okay. Now what I will do, it will actually, if we look from the side view, it will actually shift your focus distance in the middle of this object. So if you see, it's right here in the middle of this object, right in the middle. So this is where your focus is going to be. In my case, I want it to be right at the edge. Now for that purpose, if you want to go a little bit more precise, what I would do, I would create a polysphere, just a simple polysphere, like really small one. Where is it? Right here. And I would just bring it back somewhere where I want it to be. Say somewhere here. Yeah, somewhere here in the middle of the, so that that's the middle of the sphere would be right in the middle of this rim. Okay, and then you select the camera, shift select the sphere, and on a Maxwell shelf, go to focus button. So this will shift the focus right here, right on the top of the surface. It's very useful. I mean, I use that kind of sphere technique a lot. Okay, now you can hide the sphere, go back to our main view. Well, sometimes you would need to probably full restart. I mean, when you're hiding the geometry, Maxwell doesn't really like that. Okay. So assuming this is our focus area, so now we have this area as being too blurred. I mean, I want to have a little bit of depth of field, but don't want to have too much. Now I understand why there's a lot of depth of field happening, because the object is quite small and the camera is quite close. And since our f-stop is only 5.6, that's what we're getting. That's what we would get in like real life situation. But well, since we're not in real life, we're like in computer, we can change that. What we want to do is we want to increase the f-stop number, because the way it works is increasing the f-stop number is actually closing the aperture. But if you increase the f-stop number, say to 11, and do a fire preview, you see the image get a little bit darker. That's because since you close the aperture quite a bit, like, from 5.6 to 11, it means less light is coming through. So what we want to do to compensate that, to go back to our original kind of lighting, amount of light that we had, I would increase the film ISO. See, I would double that. This will make it a little bit brighter. So now that we have our focus area nice and sharp, we have the amount of light that we used to have before we adjusted our camera settings, and we have our depth of field, but not too crazy. I mean, if you want to have even less depth of field, just go on and keep increasing the f-stop number to say something like 18. This will make everything pretty much sharp, well, except some really far away areas. But it will darken up because you're closing the aperture even more. So if you want to have that, just increase the film ISO and keep increasing it until you're happy with it. That's probably too much. Okay, but I'm happy with the f-stop being 11, so I would just need to increase the film ISO only to, say, 500-ish. To speed up the lighting process a bit, I would switch the lens type back to pinhole. Just don't forget to switch it back on if you want to have a depth of field. Now, the script that we're going to use called Place Reflection. Check out the links in description with the instructions on how to install it. It's really easy, really simple. So once you get it, you have this in Modify menu, you have this Place Reflection section, and you have two options, Place Reflection Tool and Quick Zoom Tool. In fact, what I did, I even put this shelf button for myself because it's quite convenient. I use it quite a lot. To do that, hold Command and Shift on Mac, or I guess Control and Shift on PC, and left click. It will show automatically on the tab that on the shelf that you have currently open. Okay, I'll just delete that. So the way script works is that first you need to create a light panel or a light. Well, in my case, I'll just go on and create an area light. Just increase the size a bit right here. Okay, so here's my area light. And I'll just move it to the side, just rotate it a bit. You know what, let's go on and to the render settings and reduce the intensity of the image-based environment to something like 0, so that we have nothing. And now you can see this is our light. Well, now it's quite far away, so let's bring it a little bit towards the camera. Okay, now that's definitely too bright. So what I like to do with the area lights is apply Maxwell material. Okay, so let's go to new material, use, and now your light panel has a Maxwell material. Well, by default it's a BSDF, but in our case we'll just put a emitter. Okay, and you can control the brightness here or with the watts. You can change the color if you want to. In my case, I'm going to use the emission instead of the emission by color or temperature. I'm going to use the HDR image. Okay, so I'll put the HDR image here, and I'll put this softbox EXR. Now again, check the links in description. I'll show you where I get those. There's free, and I use them quite a lot. Really nice, really nice. So this is the texture that I have here. Okay. Now, if you think that this is like a little bit too dim or dull, you want to maybe increase the intensity a bit. But for my purposes, 1 is okay for now, at least for now. I can always increase the size of the HDR if you don't need like sharp shadows or whatever. For the product design, you probably still want to go like for something much bigger than that. Let's see, we're way more lighter. So now, the way it works: select the light itself, click on the script, and then see how the magic happens. You click on the surface of your model, and it will automatically position the light where the reflection is supposed to be. So you define where you want the reflection to be, and it will place the light accordingly. It's pretty much the same concept as the HDR Lights do in terms of like placing lights, but it comes right in Maya, and it works with the light panels and with pretty much every object you can imagine. So if you want, say, if you have like the mirror cylinder and you want some object to be reflected right here, you just take this object, use the same script, and it's going to place it right there. So that is going to be reflected right here in your, imaginary mirror cylinder. Okay. You can also, just click and drag on a surface to see different options. Sometimes it gets really funky. Now, if in the situation when it gets like too close to the model, you can hold Shift and click and drag left and right. Yeah, up and down. Yeah, left and right. So it goes like further away from the model. So it's very convenient, right? So let's do a light setup since it's that fun. So I would place the first light somewhere here on the strings to get this kind of nice little highlights here. Now if I press Escape and duplicate the area light, the problem is that we're going to lose the connection with the Maxwell material. So I can connect the same Maxwell material that I was using for this light panel, or I can create a new material if I want to have a different intensity. Well, in my case, I'm going to use same intensity, so I'll just going to connect the same material, use, and you know what? Let's go on and rename that as light panel. No. Okay. And now again, as I'm selecting the area light 2, clicking on the script button, and just, placing it somewhere here maybe. Or let's see. Yeah, I think this is very nice. And let's see if we can bring it back to get some of this highlights here. Okay. I'm pressing Escape again, and I'm going to duplicate that light one more time. And again, connect the light panel material. That's a little bit drawback, but that's fine, still easy to do. While area light 3 selected, click the script and let's do the light panel for this thing. I think this is very nice area to be eliminated since it's also, it's going to be in our focus distance and focus area. Okay, so we'll keep that. Maybe we'll just shift and drag and bring it closer. That's probably too close. Just to get a little bit of illumination here on the tip of this metal part. Okay. Okay, let's duplicate that again. And again, connect the light panel material. And this time, let's place it somewhere, and click the script and place it somewhere here. See how convenient it is to create this really cool reflections with just one click, or, well, a few clicks. If you want to make it like more here, see, it's that easy. I would place it somewhere, somewhere here, so it would just contribute to this one also. Now, at this point, we have already 4 lights, just for the accents, right? I'll press Escape and go to our render settings. Ooh, wrong button. Okay, to the render settings. And I'll bring back the intensity of the HDR image of our image-based environment just a bit, not a full 100%, which is just 1. That will make it a little bit too bright. Because I want to have the reflections from HDR, but not only them. So I want to keep this artistic kind of looking lighting as my primary source of lights and accents. But I don't want to have just, like the black reflections on all other areas. I still want to have some of the reflections from HDR because it brings like nice coloration, like some, see this yellowish, a little bit of kind of bluish. It's very nice. Gives you more natural and organic look. But not too much because I want to have the majority of my light coming from the light panels. Now I think we can do a little bit more light. Yeah, Why not? No one can stop us, right? Okay, so again, area light 5, connect the light panel material, unless you want to use something else, and do a light script, and this time, let's put a light somewhere here. And put this a little bit closer. We can actually reduce the size of the light panel if we want to. And when it gets crazy, just double click. Something like this could be pretty cool. Okay, let's just pull it back a bit. Okay. So that will bring back a little bit of the rubber here. I think that looks pretty good to me. I like the details, and you know that it's more from artistic kind of look. What I would do, I would just do one more light. So area light 6, and what we'll do here is we'll create a new Maxwell material. And let's do a new Maxwell material. Okay. And let's make it maybe a little bit yellowish to put some accent. Okay, too crazy. And let's put this selected, quick script. I want to make some accent on this this trigger right here. Now also I think that the light should be really small, because I just need this area to be eliminated. Or maybe, you know what? Let's go and create a, make it blue. Oh, not that blue. Not that much blue, but yeah. I would reduce the amount of watts to something like 10, so it's not that bright. And I would put it a little bit closer. Something like this. You know what, maybe you pull it back a bit. Oh, actually, yeah. Sorry, let's do one more. Somewhere here on this detail. Let's duplicate this guy and create a Maxwell material and send light panel. Use that and click really fast somewhere here. You know, to add this kind of nice highlight somewhere here. Okay, so once we're done, I think we can set up the rendering. Oh, before we do that, let's turn back our depth of field. So we go back to our camera settings and Maxwell in the tab and change the lens type from pinhole to fin lens. Okay, so this is how we're gonna look like. That's cool. Now, I still think that I'm missing a little bit of light. It feels like it should be a little bit brighter. Feels like I want it to be a little bit brighter. Maybe it shouldn't be brighter. Let's bring back some HDR light. Now, the full intensity of the HDR light is a little bit too much. We have 0.2. So 0.3. Yeah, that should do it. Okay. Also, I think this one, what is it? Like 7. You know what? Let's increase it a bit. So it's just going to be a little bit, maybe a little bit smaller, just like that. Okay. I'm using the light panel. Let's increase all the light panels to 1.25, something like this. So it's a little bit sharper. So that's that. Now we can stop and go on to render settings to set up the render. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your rendering is going to be to the right proportion, or whatever you want to have here. I just like this proportion, but let's just increase it twice, like 2K for the longest side and 1 key for the shortest side. So should be fine for the sake of this tutorial. Okay, now that's the easy one. Now the general settings in Maxwell Render tab and render settings. What you want to do is you want to change the render time in minutes from 10 minutes. That's very optimistic, to something like something. I mean, you can just stop at any time, right? And sampling level, I will go to, say, I don't know, 16 max, maybe. Let's go 17 since we have depth of field. Should be fine. But I would put image depth. I put 16. I like to put 16 because 8-bit depth per pixel feels a bit too flat in terms of the color. The rest of the settings, pretty much. Oh yeah, if you want to have MXS and MXI files saved, well, specify the folder for that. For me, I'll just skip that and go right to the render channels. Close the image base tab and close the environment tab. And let's go to render channels. So this is where you define whether you want to have alpha channel or not, or any other channels exported together with your render. Now, right now, by default, render type set to all. So if you want to embed the channels, like to automatically remove the background with the embedded channels. And for instance, I want to have alpha. And it's opaque because, well, there's nothing transparent or translucent, right? If you want to have deep or depth or shadow or any other channels exported, go on and click those. I don't really need them for myself right now. Maybe sometimes, usually I export maybe object ID or material ID just for the post-production, but not much. If you want to relight a bit, you can export normals. That's pretty much. I'm not going to use any denoiser for this tutorial, so I'll just hit close and hit the render button, okay, like this, and close that. So what it'll do, it'll open Maxwell Render app, and it will start rendering. Okay, so I'll stop it right there. So you see it's like sample level 13 and it's 10 past, like 12.5 minutes. Okay, the benchmark was pretty high, in my case, pretty high. Okay, so I think that's it for now. I wish you all the best. Cheers.